months after he was shot by Long Beach police, Douglas Zerby's autopsy report has been made public. Doesn't offer many answers, though, but it does raise some new questions. Christina Gonzalez is live in Long Beach. Christina.
Yeah, the report does say that he had Valium and TCH, which is associated with marijuana, in his system. His blood alcohol level was like 0.42, which is pretty high. But let me show you what I think this is actually going to come down to.
We'll never be able to know what he saw, what his understanding was, what he was aware of.
Talking about Douglas Zerby, shot to death by Long Beach police officers last December when he pointed toward them what the officers thought was a gun, but turned out to be this garden nozzle. Officials point out the landing where Zerby was sitting and show us a diagram of the bullet pattern. Notice no injuries on the thighs and through bullets on both forearms.
The location and pattern of injuries sustained by Mr. Zerby were consistent with someone in a seated position, feet flat on the floor with knees bent, and leaning forward with both hands close together and raised out in front of him.
So you tell me how you get shot here, all the way down the chest, in your shoulder, if your arms are like this.
Zerby's sister with protesting family and friends outside the press conference.
Had they thrown a rock at him, done anything to indicate that they were there, that they were on site, and that they were present, my brother would have complied with their wishes.
There was no communication between the officers and Zerby. Seems they were waiting for backup to start giving commands like, drop the gun.
Sadly, we will never know for sure what prompted Mr. Zerby to raise his hands and point the object in that direction, or what he was aware of at that particular time. But that action ultimately resulted in the officer-involved shooting.
You can't say that he did anything ultimately that was his responsibility that resulted in his death because he didn't know that there were officers there.
Now, the family does want the federal authorities to step in to investigate. Right now, we're just waiting for the departments and the district attorneys. We'll keep you updated. Live in Long Beach, I'm Christina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
This adventuresome, loving person who was a father and was a wonderful part of our family whose name is being dragged through the mud.
I'm Beverly White in Long Beach, where emotions are still raw and investigations are still pending after last December's deadly officer-involved shooting. A live report coming up.
New information released tonight in an officer-involved shooting in Long Beach. Last December, Douglas Zerby, who was holding a garden hose nozzle, was shot to death by officers there. A shooting his family insists was not justified. Beverly White live in Long Beach with more on the story for us. Beverly.
That's right, Colleen. The dead man's family did not attend the news conference today, where a just-released autopsy seems to explain the police use of deadly force. Tonight, we're learning more about the killing of a man whose blood alcohol level was 4 times the legal limit. Bullet holes remain in the Long Beach courtyard, where last December, police shot and killed Douglas Zerby after a neighbor claimed he had a gun. Turns out Zerby held a black pistol-grip garden nozzle. The Long Beach police chief says a new coroner's report proves Zerby was seated and aiming at police.
This is also consistent with arms being extended straight out and pointing in the direction of the officers at the time that the shots were fired.
The chief says 2 officers with a handgun and a shotgun felt threatened and fired 10 rounds from a nearby apartment. Zerby's sister disputes that so-called threat.
He could not see them. They never verbally identified themselves. There was no visual eye contact at all whatsoever. So still as a family, we take the stance. How can you say that he pointed something in the direction of someone that he did not know was there? He was a sitting duck.
At a prior news conference, Zerby's family reacted with outrage. Today, the chief met them privately before speaking to the media. Another source of anger, says Zerby's sister.
I don't understand why it is that we're not welcome at these events. I am not really certain why it is that they feel like they have to be operating behind this fortress.
Zerby's supporters rallied outside the news conference to defend his good name and challenge the police.
We want to just rebuild him the way he was, not known as the drunken Belmont Shore that got shot. It's a horrible legacy for such a decent person, for anybody.
While the chief confirms the investigation is far from over and everybody lost something that fateful day.
Nothing I tell you today will change what has already happened. We too agree that this incident was tragic.
And both unidentified officers are back on duty, and investigations by the police department and the district attorney are still underway. The family lawyer also tells us tonight a wrongful death lawsuit is in the works. Reporting live in Long Beach, I'm Beverly White, Channel 4 News.
Thanks, Bev.